Hey guys, good morning. It's Tony. Before I start the video, like always, please subscribe, like, and comment. It definitely helps the channel grow. And then I would like to give a shout out to myself as a sponsor. If you guys would like to join before I post all of my strategies up on my own website for like, $750, $1,000. I definitely recommend you guys join before to be grandfathered in. The Patreon is only about $10 a month as opposed to later paying for like $750, not a month, but just for the whole thing, right? It's www.patreon.com/but I'm not a trader. And then let's get started with the video. This isn't really going to be a video on TA, and it's mostly going to be a video on probability and statistics. And it's actually something that I just talked about in my Patreon in the chat. And this is why I'm still bearish, right? Essentially why I'm still bearish to the downside for the most part. Well, not for the most part. I'm objectively, extremely bearish, right? And the real reason is just statistics and probability. And if you guys have been part of my channel and stuff, you guys know that I like to play the statistics. I like to play probability, and that is it. I don't like trading on, too much on news, too much on, other kind of strategies and stuff. I like trading what the highest probability is of something happening, right? That's essentially it. And what I'm doing here is I'm using my 3-day trigger on my custom setup right here, right? And again, if you want this custom setup, you can join the Patreon. This won't be going out unless you are part of the Patreon. And then after I start my own website, then it's going to be 100 times more expensive. So definitely join to be grandfathered in. But again, I go into how I forecast this, but essentially what's going on is in 34 days, you dropped 8% on the US 30, right? And we'll go into we can use other tickers for the same example, right? So again, here, from here to the low, you dropped in 29 days, you dropped 4%, right? From the same level that we are right now, right? So exactly the same level right here, you dropped almost 15% in 37 days, right? Again, even these small 3-day triggers right here, right? Even these small 3-day triggers, you drop from here to the low in about 5 days, right? You dropped 8% in 5 days, right? We're not even see down here, you have 2 triggers here. Let's use the first one, right? So we're not like we're not being selective, right? We're just using the first. You would have taken that first trigger, right? So again, from here all the way down, right? You dropped 12% in 42 days, right? Again, and I'm using not necessarily perfect triggers, just all of them, right? We're just using every single trigger here, right? Just to show the probability of how likelihood these things are to hit. 5 days, you drop 7%, right? Here in, again, 18 days, you drop 9%. So, I mean, I'm not going to go far. I'm not going to go any more because I don't need to, right? Again, trigger here, you drop. Trigger here, you drop, right? Trigger here, you drop. I mean, I'm not gonna go back because this already proves my point. But again, likelihood: 5 days, 8 days, 42 days, 5 days, 37 days, 29 days, 34 days, right? So let's go with the farthest out that we've seen. We've seen 42 days, right? 42 days is the farthest out, and we've also seen roughly 33/8. You see 9%, 7%, 12%, 8%, 14%, 4%, 8%. So usually it's about 4% to 8%, and then we'll use the farthest out date to run this forecast. So we'll do 42 days, and then we'll run 2 forecasts. We'll run a 4% drop, and we'll run an 8% drop, right? That's essentially it, right? So from this trigger here, which had already happened on April 25th, we'll do 42 days out just to be on the safe side. We'll drop it 4%. 4%, 42 days, yeah. And then, same time frame, right? We'll drop it 8%. Right? So as you can see, we're still a long way to go. We still have another, from where we are now, from the levels that we are now on the US 30, we still have another 3% to go, and we still have another 7% to go. Right? On these triggers, essentially, right? And it's one of those things where I'm just like, I don't like fighting probability. The probability of us going down to US 30, breaking this trend down here is extremely, extremely likely. And this is going to happen before, by June, both of them is by June 5th, right? So if I was playing this, which I am, as of right now, I do have mid and late June puts for the SPX. And I do think that as of right now, we are at the top of trend. We're currently rejecting, but not only that, for the week, the chance of us actually closing a bear week next week is extremely, extremely high. We already got an early signal of the SPX closing this past week. So the likelihood of us closing this next week is extremely, extremely high, which is why I'm trying to tell everybody, I'm like, I'm not bullish at all. I'm really, really not. Like the chances of this not happening are extremely low, and I'm just playing probability because this has happened on the 3-day trigger. We have dropped down either 4 to 8% every single time after that trigger happens in the span of X amount of days, right? And it's happened 100% of the time for the last 2-3 years. So I'm not about to start fighting this now, right? On the weekly, the only thing that I do see is that you're on this short-term trend up, but you keep hitting this rejection at 34,147 and you keep rejecting off this level, right? Not only you rejected, whoops, this would be, let me see how far back this rejects from. See, it's an extremely strong level, right? But you've rejected once, twice, bunch of times right here, bunch of times. This would be like your 4th, 5th, 6th time that you're rejecting, right? And the fact that the weekly is so close to closing a bear trigger, not only that, but if you look at the monthly as well, the monthly is right on there as well. Like the monthly is right on there, almost closing a bear trigger. Look at that. The last time we had a monthly close, we had an extremely hard drop, right? We actually went from here. It took a little bit, quite a bit, but if we run it all the way down here, you dropped 20% in about a year, right? And I would definitely give the same indication. If we close that weekly, right? If you close that, the monthly, if you close a monthly bear trigger, I would 100% buy puts for like a year and a half out, 2 years out, that we're going to drop extremely hard. Right? And this has happened every single time. Every single time you see that monthly close, right? Look at this. Let's close this down. You drop significantly, right? This was back in COVID, right? In 28 days, you dropped 40%, right? Monthly trigger right here, same here. Boom. 20% in 60 days, right? On that month trigger, right? You dropped 8% in 33 days, right? And then it doesn't go any more back because we can't look at it, but it's been accurate every single time. And it's on the monthly trigger that it gives that signal on that monthly close, right? And it's happened 100% of the time. So I'm expecting this to close probably June, July, a bear trigger. And I'm expecting us to maybe go all the way back down to, what is the usual drop? Is 20%, 30, 40%, 8%. I mean, it's kind of all over the place, but I'd say 60 days, let's go with the lower end. 60 days, let's go with 20% on a 60-day mark, right? So let's say we close this at the level that we are now, right? Let's say up here. Let's say that at that level. We go down 20% at the level that we are now within 60 days, right? So actually, we don't even care about the days. We just care about the percentage, right? So let's say next month, right? Let's say June, July, we close around this same level, the same range, right? Somewhere in the same range. You're seeing if you're dropping 20%, you're seeing brand new lows by the end of this year. So, I'm extremely bearish. I do think the monthly is going to close. It's going to have to close, if it's not this month, it's going to close June, July. That's my expectation for this. But again, the 3-day trigger on the US 30, whether you look at the SPX, right? We'll go to the SPX 500 here. Right? Again, same thing. It's just I don't know how else to like really explain it to anybody, right? Like it's all I'm playing is probability, right? You're dropping $25 on that